I'm Les Cuff. I'm running for state rep, and I want to introduce what I really feel proud about. It's the Exeter Orange students. They have been active for the last several months. They put on forums and getting discussions of how we should be thinking about gun safety, et cetera, this and that. I really got to give them a lot of credit.
Thank you so much for your support. Exeter Orange was created in the wake of the Enough movement, formed of middle school and high schoolers who recognized the paralysis and stood up to make a change. We wanted to shift the discussion from the outrage and animosity that people felt toward their opposing partners. This shouldn't be a Democrat versus Republican issue. Anger has never been a constructive emotion, and the misunderstanding it created only widened the barrier to real change. Communication is the key to progression, and we need to be committed to hear every perspective, listen to every position, and see every interpretation if we are going to enact comprehensive and progressive change.
There is no one solution. There is only progress. This is 7 days a week for the rest of your life. This is a race with no finish line. Yet still, that begs the question, how do we keep running? The answer is not through anger and resentment, not through shouting and fighting. Progress is made through cooperation and understanding. The second thing that we have learned is that progress in this movement is moving so slowly because people are afraid to talk about it. Gun violence is such a polarized topic that we have come to an impasse. And yet, according to a poll by the National Public Radio, 94% of Americans support background checks for all gun buyers. 92% support adding people with mental illnesses to the federal gun background check system, and 82% think that we should raise the legal age from purchasing guns from 18 to 21. 18% also, and 81 support bump stock bans.
There is no political affiliation to saving lives. We need politicians to know this. Support for common sense gun control policy is entirely bipartisan. Unless they have their hands in the pockets of the NRA, they will know this. And across the nation, elected officials of both parties are stepping up to support this legislation, and New Hampshire politicians can do the same. However, if we are really going to make progress, we can't leave everything up to politicians. It all boils down to our culture. Do we live in a culture that will let fear and anger stall our action? Are we a culture that refuses to unite with our allies as well as our enemies to work toward a common goal? A culture that is satisfied with saving 10 lives when we could save 100? A culture that allows hatred and bigotry to take innocent lives every day? Or a culture that accepts this violence as a normality? That is up to you. Thank you so much.
I'm so proud of those kids. When I think of them, I think of what happened a very personal time in my life when my brother, your age, was shot with a .22, and it was kind of devastating. He survived, et cetera, this and that. But when I look at the youth, I kind of look at him. I look at the time I had to change his wound, et cetera. So it's from the heart. I also been a victim of, well, not a victim, a subject of stand your ground. I couldn't believe it when I first moved here to New England. I was talking with a neighbor, looking through her window. She was standing in her kitchen sink, and all of a sudden I heard some big loud shout. I turned around and a gun is faced right at me. I never experienced that before. I'm glad I didn't run. I was ready to go up and beat the crap out of him. But it was my neighbor. So I think things are going to look a little crazy. As I've been going around talking to people, knocking on doors, I'm just amazed at how many people didn't know that, 3-4 years ago, there was hunting allowed in the Stratham Hill Park. As I went to talk to some of the youth group at Pizza in the Park with their kids, when I mentioned to them, and even I talked to one individual who basically was an NRA carrier, and when I told him about guns in the park, he couldn't believe it. It took us 2 years to make that happen, and we finally, through our voting, et cetera, we reversed that several years ago. Now, that is also now in jeopardy. That could be happening with some bills that are up there. If they go through, that could take that away. So, I mean, when we start talking at the local level, we really need to get involved in games.